We're on a magic-wielding roll, folks. Today we're taking a look at the Unspoken, a fantasy fighting game in VR released in 2017 by Insomniac Games. Insomniac has a rich, successful history from Spyro to Ratchet & Clank to The Resistance. More recently, Sunset Overdrive and the upcoming Spider-Man game releasing in September, Insomniac has been known to hit it out of the park. But do their chops carry over into VR? Let's find out today on MySoreThumbs. The Unspoken is actually Insomniac's second VR title, released in December of 2017. It's received a major update entitled Acolytes since its release and is available exclusively on Oculus Rift for around $20. You can check out the episode notes below for links to the Oculus Store page and Insomniac Games. The Unspoken is a 1v1 dueling game that grants the player amazing magical abilities. The intro sequence is dripping with ambience as it sets the stage for the beautiful but grimy world of the Unspoken, an underground fight club for the magically enhanced. As a novice magician, you make the mistake of pulling out a fireball in public, setting into motion a group that wants you dead called the Council, and an alliance with your new mentor. She tells you your only option is to hide in the underground dueling circuit away from the Council's reach.
It's time for us to leave. Quickly.
This new mentor serves as the game's tutorial, which is vital to your survival online. It's a hefty playthrough at around 20 minutes. It's worth it though, and as far as I can tell, you can't skip it, so when you're finished, you'll be able to cast both offensive and defensive spells, fire off special attacks that can do serious damage to your opponents, and summon powerful Wraiths that attack and distract your opponent. The tutorial sequence finalizes with your first duel against your mentor's acolyte, which does a great job of requiring you to vary up your attacks and defensive maneuvers.
Excellent. You're learning quickly. But know this, you're still in danger. The Council searches for you even now.
Back at your apartment, your mentor is impressed with your performance and invites you to follow her as an acolyte. After wiggling her nose, your apartment gets a magical upgrade. From here, you can choose artifacts that change up your magician's abilities. Players start as an anarchist magician, but playing online matches unlock new classes and artifacts. After some small talk and a magic TV that only replays fights from beyond the veil, you can start your first real match. Fights are broken up into 3 rounds with the goal of draining the opponent's health as soon as possible. You do this by slinging spells their way and teleporting around the arena. The arena is broken up into half courts of nodes, essentially creating an invisible line that you can't teleport past, keeping each player on their respective side. The thing I like most about the Unspoken is how it makes you feel like you are the magician. You are the spellcaster. You're not assigning a spell to a slot and hitting a button to make it go. You have to perform the proper gesture that summons that spell and then aim it with some precision to get a hit. It's not an analog to arcade fighters, but it's a much deeper connection to strategy and skill than what Wands requires of you. The Unspoken have these atmospheric environments that are dynamic and change from round to round. Each time the arena changes, it can affect gameplay in small ways. The Midway Pier, for instance, has this big swinging ship in the center, which can provide temporary cover depending on your position. The day shifts into the evening and then into night as the rounds progress, which give me this nostalgic feeling of being a kid on vacation again, down the shore playing arcade games at the Carnival Pier. That is until the giant robotic spider shows up and tries to blast you with laser beams. That never happened to me on summer vacation. While the arenas are atmospheric and dynamic, The level design of the arenas leave a lot to be desired. To be clear here, I'm not talking about visual aesthetics. The arenas look amazing. I'm referring to the layout of the nodes that determines the player's movement during battle. All of the arenas are a little more than a series of nodes on platforms of varying height. One could argue this focuses on the spellcasting and is less about cat and mouse chase down, but personally I think having more variety in the level layouts would make the environments feel more unique to play in. Wands did a much better job with this. I felt like I was moving through, the giant snake caverns, and I could bounce around, and there was moments where I wasn't sure where my opponent was. It felt more like first-person shooter in that aspect, whereas with the Unspoken, I know that my opponent is always somewhere in front of me. It's either front, left, or right, because the breakdown of these nodes, it's more like being on a tennis court than it is in a first-person shooter level. While Wands and the Unspoken share a common thread, they separate pretty quickly. You can feel how much larger the budget for the Unspoken is. The level of polish is what you'd expect out of a AAA studio. Animations and particle effects look amazing. The soundtrack and ambiance, as well as special effects, draw you into the world around you.
It's rising up on the lakeshore. The White City.
These small things can help make a good game better, but it's the superior mechanics that make Unspoken such an awesome game. A golden rule of game design is to make the action the player spends the most time doing the most fun. Spellcasting here is on another level. Insomniac does a great job of making you feel powerful, but at the same time doesn't turn your actions into an easy button. They've created a path that as a player in the real and a magician in the game need to follow to achieve mastery. By marrying a new player's skill level with the story, you experience a more believable, cohesive game. You can't button mash to be successful against other players. You have to put in the time and sharpen your skills. This is the deep fighting VR game you've been looking for. Again, this is not equivalent to hardcore fighting games that you would play with an arcade stick. Insomniac has wonderfully converted the technical skill requirements of arcade fighters into a compelling and visually stunning VR game. For this reason, the game is approachable to novice fighters, but has the content and depth to please seasoned fighting genre fans looking for something in VR. If you liked this video, please let me know in the comments or simply click the like button. I welcome all of your thoughts and feedback. If you want to know when my next video is going to release, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching my review. I also now exist on Twitter, so you can follow me at MySoreThumbs if that's your thing. I am Craig, and you have been watching MySoreThumbs. Have a great one, and take care of yourself.